She sat beside his bed, holding his hand as he took his last breath. But what happened after his death was even more heartbreaking. His parents didn't cry. They didn't mourn. They just wanted his money. This is not just a story of love and loss. It's a story of betrayal, courage, and the fight for what's right. Stay with me till the end, because her pain turns into power in a way no one expected. Aubrey sat beside Jace's bed. He was very sick. She held his hand tightly. She was crying. Jace looked at her and gave a small smile. "Don't be scared, Aubrey," he said softly. "Everything will be okay." But Aubrey shook her head. "Please don't talk like that," she said with tears in her eyes. "You will be fine. You will come home with me. We will live happily again." Jace looked at her for a moment and then said, "No, Aubrey. I will not get better. I've known this for a long time." His voice was weak, but he spoke clearly. 2 hours later, he gave her one last smile, held her hand, and stopped breathing. His eyes stayed open. Aubrey screamed loudly and put her head on his chest. People came in and tried to pull her away, but she cried and shouted, "No, don't take me away from him." That evening, Aubrey sat quietly in a chair with Jace's photo in her hand. She looked at her phone, knowing she had to make a very hard phone call. She had to tell Jace's parents that he had died, but they hadn't spoken to Jace in many years. They were not close. Jace had told Aubrey many times that his parents did not care about love or kindness. He once said, "They only care about money. If I have something to give, they come near me. If I have nothing, they walk away." Aubrey could not understand this. She always thought parents were kind and loving, but Jace had told her many times, "They just want my business. They want control. They think they deserve respect only because they gave birth to me." Aubrey remembered when she asked Jace, "Why don't you help them? Maybe open a shop for them?" Jace had laughed and said, "You don't know them like I do. They will never change. Helping them will not make them better. They only want to take more." Now Aubrey had to call them and say, "Your son has died." It was a hard thing to do, but she had no choice. She picked up the phone and called Jace's mother, Monroe. The phone rang a few times, then someone picked up. "Hello?" the voice said coldly. Aubrey said, "Hello, Monroe. This is Aubrey. I have bad news. Jace has died." There was a short silence. Then Monroe said quickly, "Did he leave a will? Did he write down who gets what? Don't think you'll take everything. I'll go to court if I have to." Aubrey couldn't believe what she heard. She ended the call and cried even more. The day of the funeral came. Jace's parents arrived wearing black clothes and dark sunglasses. His father held some red roses. They looked serious, but Aubrey could see it was all fake. She knew they didn't cry when Jace was sick. They didn't visit him. Now they came only for his money and things. Still, Aubrey stayed quiet. She knelt near Jace's grave and cried softly. She thought of the happy days they had spent together. She remembered his voice, his laugh, his smile. Her heart felt empty now. Life without him seemed dark and cold. After some time, Jace's mother walked up to Aubrey. Her voice was cold. "Why are you sitting here like this? Do you think people believe your tears? You only married Jace for his money. Don't act like a sad wife. People are waiting for food at the restaurant. Go serve them." Aubrey looked up slowly and said, "It's at Skybar Lounge. Everything is ready." Monroe didn't say thank you. She just turned around and walked away. Aubrey stayed at the grave longer, even after everyone left. She wanted to be near Jace one more time. She thought about their first meeting. Aubrey had come from a small village. She studied hard in school and got top marks. She moved to the city for college. Life was not easy, but she worked and studied every day. Then one day, she went to a birthday party. That's where she met Jace. He was kind and calm. They talked for hours. From that day, they were always together. They quickly fell in love. Their love was simple, honest, and strong. When Jace told his parents about Aubrey, they got angry. "She's just a village girl," they shouted. But Jace did not listen to them. He said, "Then don't come to the wedding." Aubrey had felt sad, but Jace held her hand and said, "Now you see what they are like." Aubrey was thankful that Jace chose love over pride. He was never rude, but he stood by her always. They got married in a small hall. Only close friends came. There was no big party, but Aubrey was happy. That was the best day of her life. After marriage, they bought a big house. Aubrey was shocked by the cost. She said, "This is too much money." But Jace said, "We can do it. I have 2 small businesses. If we work together, we can do anything." They worked day and night. They made plans, saved money, and helped each other. But they also laughed a lot. Every evening, they cooked food together and watched movies. Life was not always easy, but they were always happy because they had love. Now that Jace was gone, Aubrey didn't want anything. She didn't care about the house, the car, or the money. Her world felt empty. She walked home slowly after the funeral. She had no energy left. When she reached the house, she saw that the lights were on. That was strange. She had turned everything off before leaving. She walked in quietly and was shocked. Jace's parents were inside. They were drinking champagne and laughing. Monroe was sitting on the sofa with a glass in her hand. Jace's father, Clark, was smiling and talking loudly. They did not even notice Aubrey. Then Monroe looked up and said, "Oh, you're here? Good. Your suitcase is ready. Take your things and leave." Aubrey stood still. She could not believe her ears. "What are you saying?" she asked slowly. "This house belongs to Jace," Monroe said. "Now he's dead. So it belongs to us, not you. You can go back to your little village." Clark nodded and said, "Don't argue, just leave." Aubrey said, "Jace and I bought this house together. We worked hard for this." But Monroe laughed loudly. "You think anyone will believe you? You were just a poor girl from nowhere. Jace had money before he met you." Aubrey said nothing more. She quietly picked up her suitcase and left the house. She sat on the street and called a taxi. Her heart was heavy, but her face was calm. She whispered to herself, "Jace loved his parents, so he couldn't fight them. But I am not scared of them." She took a deep breath. She had lost her husband. She had lost her home, but she still had strength in her heart. She would not give up so easily. The next day, Aubrey went to a lawyer. She showed all the papers, house documents, bank accounts, everything with both their names. The lawyer read everything and said, "You don't need to worry. This house belongs to you. Jace's parents have no right to take it. Aubrey felt some hope return. She thanked the lawyer and left with a small smile. She was not alone. She had truth on her side. Monroe and Clark were shocked when the police came to the house. They had to leave. They shouted and called Aubrey names, but no one listened. Aubrey walked into the house slowly. She looked around. It was quiet now. She sat on the sofa and took out Jace's photo. She held it close to her chest. "I did it, Jace," she whispered. "I will protect what we built." Time passed slowly. Aubrey started working again. She opened one of Jace's old shops and began to run it herself. She was scared at first, but day by day she became stronger. Customers liked her. She smiled again. Every night she looked at Jace's photo and said, "I miss you, but I will be okay." Her heart still hurt, but she learned to live again. One evening, Aubrey was closing the shop when a little girl came in. She had a small broken toy in her hand. "Can you fix this?" the girl asked shyly. Aubrey took the toy, smiled, and said, "Yes, I can." The girl ran to her mother and shouted, "She's nice!" The mother smiled at Aubrey and said, "Thank you." That moment made Aubrey's heart feel warm. She knew Jace would be proud. Months passed. Aubrey helped more people, gave to poor families, and became loved in her area. Everyone called her Strong Aubrey. But inside, she always remembered Jace. Every year, on the same day, she visited his grave. She brought flowers, sat quietly, and spoke to him. "I kept my promise," she would say. "I lived with courage." Aubrey never married again. She believed true love comes only once. She lived a simple life, but her heart was full. She turned pain into strength, tears into hope, and sadness into kindness. Jace's love stayed inside her forever. It helped her move forward, even when everything felt broken. And so, Aubrey lived her life with peace. She was no longer the quiet girl from the village. She had become a brave woman who lost everything but found herself. And every night, before sleeping, she looked at Jace's photo and said softly, "Good night, my love." She lost her love, she lost her home, but she refused to lose herself. From a small village girl to a woman who stood tall against cruelty, her story reminds us, when the world turns its back on you, you still have the power to rise. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More real, emotional stories are waiting for you.